Hi, I'm Geoff Stokes. Welcome to Geoff's Daily Dose of Encouragement. Today, I want to encourage you about the comfort of the Scriptures. In Romans 15:4, it says this: "For whatsoever things were written," it says aforetime in the King James, but before time, "were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the Scriptures might have hope." So there are many things that are written, in the Old Testament Scriptures, which I believe this is what this is referring to, about, in this context it's talking about the coming of Christ, but there are also other things for our learning. And this morning I was reading about Abraham in Genesis, and it was the time when Sarah had the child that God promised her. And a couple of things came to mind when I was reading that. The first thing was that the whole foundation of society is built on the family, is built on the fact that it was patriarchs like Abraham and even before him and stuff, that they were just family units, and they grew. The promise was that Abraham would become a great nation, and his son Isaac, that he had, would become a great nation. These were promises made to individual people, and then they would have children, but then they became great nations. And there's a situation there where Abraham makes a covenant with a guy called Phicol, and that in those days there was these covenants between one individual and another, because there'd been some disputes and things going on between herdsmen. But those types of negotiations, they happen at a very high level today in nations, but they originally used to happen between families and tribesmen and things like that. And the other thing that occurred to me was, of course, Abraham had another son, didn't he, before he had Isaac, called Ishmael. And at this time, when Sarah had Isaac, Hagar began to mock, because I guess she felt that what was going to happen was Ishmael was the rightful heir to the inheritance because he was the firstborn. But even God had said, he was to not be the heir, that Isaac was. But the lesson that I learned from that was that in the same way that Eve was deceived, and then Adam listened to Eve, and then he was deceived, and they ate of the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and it basically wrecked the human race. So also Abraham's decision, because Sarah thought she wasn't going to have children, so she came to Abraham and said, "You take Hagar, my handmaid, and you bear children unto me through her." And Abraham listened. That also has had a major effect on the human race. And it starts right at the beginning, between individuals making decisions. But the number one thing is that we know that the foundations of society, people are trying to change those things today and try to say, "Oh no, we've moved on from that now." No, we've never moved on from the fact that a man and a woman have a man and a woman, a male and a female. They are the bedrock of society. They come together as a husband and wife and have families, and they can turn into great nations. And number two is the serious consequences that happen if we go outside of God's plan and start having other relationships and do other things outside of the will of God. And that's all to say that we have so much to learn, and through the comfort and encouragement of the Scriptures, if we look, there's so many things that we can learn, so many things that we can learn to ground ourselves in. And obviously ultimately the Scriptures are talking about God and the coming, or he's come now, God and his Son Jesus Christ, who is the way to God, the only way to God. So that's my encouragement for you today, about the encouragement of the Scriptures, or the comfort of the Scriptures. If you don't know the Lord Jesus Christ If you confess with your mouth the Lord Jesus and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For whosoever shall confess that Jesus is the Son of God, God dwells in him and he in God. And you can see in the scriptures the plan that God has for us as people, how people have veered off it and the consequences of it. And we can see what his actual plan is and what happens and how blessed we are when we follow it through faith in Jesus Christ. God bless you. Have a great day.